A day in 1776. Life in a new America. The year was 1776, a year that would echo across centuries, remembered for revolution, courage, and the birth of a nation. But beyond the grand speeches and famous signatures, beyond the thunder of muskets and the marching of soldiers, there existed another story, the quiet, ordinary life of everyday people. Farmers, mothers, children, craftsmen, and laborers all lived their days not in history books, but in simple routines filled with hope, fear, and determination. This is the story of one such day, ordinary, yet shaped by extraordinary times. Chapter 1. Morning Light on the Farm. The first rays of sunlight crept over the rolling hills of the colonies, casting a golden glow on a small farm just outside a modest town. The rooster crowed loudly, breaking the stillness of dawn. Inside the wooden house, 14-year-old Thomas stirred beneath his rough wool blanket. "Thomas," his mother called from downstairs, "up now, the cows won't milk themselves." He groaned softly but pushed himself out of bed. Life in 1776 did not allow for laziness. Every day was work, and every member of the household had a role to play. The floor beneath his feet was cold. There was no heating system, only a fireplace downstairs that had burned through the night. He quickly dressed in simple clothes, a linen shirt, worn trousers, and boots that had seen better days. As he stepped outside, the crisp morning air filled his lungs. The farm stretched before him, a modest barn, a vegetable patch, and fields that had yet to fully bloom. The war had made things harder. Supplies were scarce, and many men had left to fight. His father was one of them. "Still no letter?" asked Thomas as he approached his mother, who was already working. She shook her head quietly. "Not yet." They didn't say more. Words could not ease that kind of worry. Chapter 2. A Town on Edge. Later that morning, Thomas was sent into town with a small basket of eggs to trade. The road was dusty, and the journey took nearly an hour by foot. As he approached the town center, he noticed something unusual: more soldiers. Some wore the familiar red coats of British troops, others were colonial militia, farmers like his father, now holding muskets instead of plows. The tension was thick in the air. People spoke in hushed tones. A group had gathered near the printing shop, where a fresh broadside had just been nailed to the wall. Thomas pushed through the crowd to read it. It spoke of independence, of breaking away from British rule. It mentioned the American Revolution and the growing desire for freedom. An older man beside him muttered, "If this continues, there's no turning back." Thomas didn't fully understand politics, but he understood fear and hope. Both were present that day. Chapter 3. The Marketplace. The marketplace was alive despite the uncertainty. Women bartered for flour, cloth, and salt. Men discussed news from nearby colonies. Children ran between stalls, unaware of the weight of the times. Thomas approached a merchant. "I have eggs," he said. The merchant examined them carefully. "Good. I can give you some flour, but not much. Supplies are low." "Is it because of the war?" asked Thomas. The man sighed. "Everything is because of the war." Trade had been disrupted, ships were blocked, goods were scarce, even simple items had become valuable. Thomas accepted the trade and continued through the market. He paused at a small stand where a woman was selling homemade candles. "Take one," she said kindly. "Your mother will need it." He hesitated. "I don't have anything more to trade." She smiled softly. "Then consider it a gift. These are hard times." Thomas thanked her, touched by the kindness. Even in struggle, people found ways to help one another. Chapter 4. At the Printing Press. Curiosity led Thomas to the printing shop. Inside, the air smelled of ink and paper. A man worked quickly, pressing sheets with careful precision. "What are you printing?" Thomas asked. "News," the printer replied without looking up, "and ideas." Thomas watched as words appeared on paper, words that would travel far, shaping thoughts and decisions. "Do you think we'll be free?" Thomas asked. The printer paused, then looked at him. "Freedom is never certain. It must be fought for and believed in." Thomas didn't fully understand, but those words stayed with him. Chapter 5. Afternoon Shadows. Back at the farm, the afternoon was filled with work. Thomas helped repair a fence while his mother prepared food over the fire. His younger sister spun wool into thread. Life was simple, but never easy. In the distance, a group of militia marched along the road. Their boots kicked up dust as they moved with determination. Thomas stopped and watched them. "Will you go too?" his sister asked. He hesitated. Maybe one day. He didn't know if he meant it. The idea of war frightened him, but so did the idea of not fighting for something important. Chapter 6. Evening Reflections. As the sun began to set, the family gathered for dinner. The meal was modest: bread, stew, and a few vegetables. There were no luxuries, no electricity, no modern comforts, just the warmth of the fire and the presence of family. After dinner, Thomas lit the candle he had received earlier. "It's beautiful," his mother said. "A woman in town gave it to me," he replied. She smiled gently. "People still care for one another. That matters." They sat quietly for a while, the flickering candle casting shadows on the walls. Chapter 7. Nightfall and Hope. The night was dark and silent. Thomas lay in bed, staring at the ceiling. Outside, the world seemed calm, but he knew it was not. Somewhere, battles were being fought. Somewhere, decisions were being made that would shape the future. He thought about his father. He thought about the words he had read, and he thought about what it meant to be free. Chapter 8. A letter arrived. The next morning brought something unexpected. A rider approached the farm, carrying letters. Thomas ran outside as the man handed one to his mother. Her hands trembled as she opened it. "It's from your father," she said, her voice filled with emotion. They gathered close as she read. He was safe. He spoke of hardship, of long marches and cold nights, but also of hope. He believed in what they were fighting for. Thomas felt something shift inside him. For the first time, the war was not just something happening far away. It was personal. Chapter 9. A Changing World. Days turned into weeks, and weeks into months. The colonies continued to change. More people spoke openly about independence, more joined the fight, and on July 4th, 1776, something remarkable happened. A document was adopted, a declaration that would change history forever. Though Thomas didn't witness it firsthand, the news reached his town. Bells rang, people gathered, some celebrated, while others worried about what would come next. The road ahead would not be easy, but it was theirs. Chapter 10. The Meaning of Everyday Life. Life in 1776 was not just about war or politics. It was about survival, community, and resilience. People woke up each day not knowing what the future held. They worked hard, they cared for one another, they hoped. And in their ordinary lives, they built something extraordinary, a foundation for a new nation. Final reflection. When we think of 1776, we often think of great leaders and historic events. But the true story of that year lies in the lives of ordinary people like Thomas. They were not famous,
They did not give speeches or sign documents, but they lived through history and helped shape it in ways both small and profound. Their days were filled with work, worry, and quiet moments of kindness. And in those moments, the spirit of a nation was born.
Thanks for watching the video. Like, comment, share, and subscribe.